There should be a natural morality there that's innate within people to survive in peace with each other. And once you get beyond that, you end up with a form of chaos. We have it all around us today, but people think nothing of it. They think we're just evolving and becoming more free, as they say. More free. That's the term they actually use. Here's an article here, and I said this would happen because this is part of the agenda. I've read part of Julian Huxley's books on the air here, where he talks. This is, again, the CEO of UNESCO, the first major CEO of UNESCO for the United Nations, who was set up to set up a culture for the youth, really, and through a world educational system to ensure they all got the same indoctrination in any country. They'd all be the same. And Huxley said it. It says if we can make sexuality a hyper thing with children before puberty, he said they'll have a neurotic desire. That means a never-ending desire for sexual activity after puberty. And the idea, I said, was basically so they wouldn't bond with people and marry and bond for life. Because you see, a family is a basic small tribe. And a small tribe will stand up for any member who's attacked by the system, Big Brother. So you eliminate all of that and you have no problems at all. Other big players have said the same thing. And they've gone so far now, of course, they've pretty well achieved their goals. And we've had 50 years of degrading movies and television to bring us down to this step. But Julian Huxley also said that they would use sex education, which he knew darn well was really just a form of getting children interested in something which their hormones were not ready for yet. It makes them hyper excited eventually, and eventually when you become really overdosed with something, you become perverted. You go into the jaded stuff because you're jaded, you see, and you've got to have more excitement and more excitement each time. Here's an article here, and it says, opinion, why decriminalize child prostitution? And it says, this is the AOL News, believe it or not, the average age for a girl entering prostitution is 13 years old, and the average age is declining as buyers want younger and younger children. Nobody knows exactly how many children end up being sold for sexual services. Oh yeah, they do. But the number is in the multiple thousands, and the problem grows bigger and expands to more cities and towns every year. But every one child victim is one too many. Decent people are appalled and want to stop this outrage. See, the rest of them have no outrage at all. You'll notice, but no matter what happens today, most folk have no outrage. In fact, they're neutral. It's moral relativity. Oh, well, you know. It says, however, one good sounding solution that many states are considering will surely produce unintended negative consequences that will make things worse. Compassionate people are being lured into the idea of decriminalizing child prostitution. Compassionate people, of course. The argument goes that children shouldn't be arrested because that only punishes the children twice. Instead, they should be sent to shelters. 4 states, Washington, Illinois, Connecticut, and New York, have already passed decriminalization laws. Others are considering it. The problem with this well-intentioned change is that it won't end the exploitation, but will likely make it worse by removing the only safe and secure protection these vulnerable children have from the pimps, being arrested and placed under the protective custody of law enforcement. Ask rescued children, even those who initially parrot back the safe harbor language that some rescue organizations are teaching them, and many will say that their arrest is the only reason they are alive today. It makes it possible for pimps to tell children that law enforcement can't touch them and won't help them. Sexually exploited children are victims, frequently beaten, injured, and abused, neglected, and in need of rescuing from pimps. That's it, and often murdered as well. Johns and sometimes themselves, decriminalizing child prostitution does not pave the road to rescue and rehabilitation. Instead, it could make that road more difficult. And then it goes on with the other problems that they have, where they say, there aren't enough shelters or programs to handle all the victims. It says removing legal barriers will not build more shelters, but it will create a great atmosphere for exploiters to coerce more victims. Without sufficient shelters to care for the victims and without laws to remove children from prostitution, what will happen to these minors? Where will they go? Without legal means, will the police be more or less likely to look for them? And the children will be free to walk. Without criminal charges, participation in shelter treatment programs would be voluntary, and they're free to walk out any time. But you understand we shouldn't even be discussing this because this should not even be happening. To understand this did not used to happen. Society has been under attack for an awful long time. A very intelligent, well-funded attack for a long, long time. And not from the street level either, from the top level, to put all this stuff through to create the kind of society that you have today. And eventually, you see, they want to decriminalize everything, even pedophilia. That's part of the big agenda. If you didn't know, I've read the articles on the air before from the big boys themselves. Of course, they are into all that stuff. But we shouldn't even have to discuss this stuff today. You understand, society's had it. When a society has no morality, and forget all this nonsense, everything's moral relativity, when you don't have a common morality, anybody will walk over you. You're done for. You can't stand up for yourselves as a nation, as a people, or even individually. It's over for you.